At this point, we're both like grabbing whatever we can that serves as a weapon.
As long as we get to wherever that is, I'm fine.
Papi, vamos pa Barú,
De que pasé puente, estaba en Barú, ¿oíste? La playa, man.
I just wanna get there.
After an incredible couple of days in Cartagena, we decided to splurge for one night. We were going to arrange travel directly with the hotel, but it looked like a straightforward shot by car. So we figured we'd just Uber there. According to Google Maps, this was a smooth hour and 14-minute ride. Little did we know, this seemingly easy solution turned into a nightmare. As you can imagine, when your fight or flight response is going wild, it's just harder to remember to vlog. I try to capture what I could, but I'll fill in the blanks as much as possible. So it's actually not a hard road. You can just drive completely to Las Islas Hotel. But we had a cuckoo Uber driver. We've been taking the economy version or the priority version instead of comfort because it's been like half the price. And it's been fine, it's been great. We've never had an issue so far. Uber doesn't confirm the ride with the driver, it doesn't tell them where they're going until they pick you up. So after he picked us up, he was like, oh wow, this is an hour and a half. I need to pick up a tire on the way because it's a long drive and we'd rather be safe than sorry. This was the first bad decision that we made. In our defense, the driver said that it was 10 minutes away, so it didn't feel like a bad decision at the time. As he's going to pick up this tire, we're getting closer and closer to the airport, and we're thinking like, we better be ready in case this man is like, because that was a dangerous thing to go so far off course in a car where we don't know anyone. But we were in a really, we were in a barrio that was like all locals. I'm sure it's fine, but you know, we have all our stuff with us. We're thinking it was probably better to get off somewhere that's a little bit more touristy, but to stay ready. At this point, we're 25 minutes in and have driven from our Airbnb here all the way to this tippy point here. We should have been at least a third of the way in by then. Thankfully, that's all he wanted to do was pick up a tire. As we're driving, the air stops working and he stops in the middle of the road to check out what's wrong with the air, and he pops the hood and is looking in there, and we told him like, yo, it's fine, let's just go. Because at this point, like, we're already getting frustrated because we're losing time. We only had one day in this hotel and it's expensive, you know what I mean? Like, it's expensive. We wanted to enjoy it for as long as possible. So he was driving, but he didn't take the main road. He wasn't like on his phone, like on WhatsApp the whole time. He stopped at his friend's place to ask him to check out the air. We're like, yo, let's just go. We don't need you to check it out, like, we're late, we need to go. He's driving all crazy. He's like, yo, did y'all eat? We're like, yeah, we did, we ate, we're fine. And he was like, oh, I didn't eat, I'm so hungry. Okay. Like, okay, I mean, it's easy to pick up something like an arepa or empanada on the way, so we're thinking, okay, he'll probably stop for an empanada. But no, this man stopped in the middle of nowhere to pick up a whole plate with chicken, soup. I think he had rice, french fries, a juice. It's hot. The air is not working. The windows are down, but you know, the roads, a lot of it was like so dusty, and we both have like sinus issues. It was a lot. As we're getting closer, he's saying like, oh, by the way, my car won't take the whole way. Excuse me, what? And that he has to drop us off like about 10-15 minutes away, and he's like, oh, but you guys can walk from there. As we're driving, he was also warning us about like these bike people. He's like, there's some bike people that are closer to Playa Blanca, and they're bad people, they're bad men, and you know, if they try to talk to you, just say, ya tenemos una reserva. Like, if you already have a reservation, cool, fine. That all went out the window the moment we had our first encounter, which happened on the Barú bridge, where a man on a bike was chasing us, telling us to stop. And my boyfriend was just like, no, just keep driving, don't stop. When he stopped following us, our driver told us that that was really dangerous and that we can't be mean to these people and that we just have to say we have a reservation. We don't want to agitate them. As we're actually getting to the road where he was saying like, the road is bad and I can't take you, there's a bunch of motorbikes. I wish I could have recorded it. You know, like, because you hear about these stories where they'll block the road and people come at you with guns, right? And they like, this is what I'm picturing. And it's a bunch of them, yes. It's a bunch of, darker skinned Colombians, and there's a lot of them here. There's a lot of Afro-Colombianos in Cartagena. They're very pushy, and they're like, come on, like, come to the beach, like, you can come this way, and you can take a boat to wherever, blah, blah, blah. We're like, no, we're good, we don't need it. The bikes followed us. There's 2 bikes that followed us. So then now we're nervous, like, why are they following us? We get to the road, and the driver's like, I can't keep going. It was like, why can't you keep going? Like, and why did you take the ride if you know you can't finish the ride? At this point, we're both like grabbing whatever we can that serves as a weapon.
This is hilarious because we were legit just grabbing whatever we could find, like pens, my tripod, anything pointy that we could find. I don't think I brought my pepper spray with me on this trip.
Convinced us to go back to the place where they were like, no, go to the beach this way to take a boat. They didn't really speak English. None of them spoke English. We tested it. So he turned around and tried to go where the bikes were saying. We stopped at the security office, and the security guy said, these guys are fine. They're just guides. Like, they're local guides. Like, you're fine. Because this driver is telling us that these guys are malo, they're malo. Like, okay, so they're bad people. But I think the driver was scared, so, maybe he just doesn't come out here. I don't know, but he was scared. And so I'm thinking that maybe, there's still some racism in Colombia. So I'm thinking that there's probably rumors that these guys are bad. But at this point, I'm scared for my life. If a local is telling me these guys are bad, like, I'm gonna tend to lean towards trusting that person, right? Well, they live here, I don't live here. So my boyfriend at this point is like, okay, so he's like, maybe we can trust the security guy. But I'm like, what if the security guy isn't on it and they're all gonna kidnap us? We turned back around, tried to go there, but then my senses just told me, no, let's not listen to these bike guys. There's so many of them, and it was just overwhelming. So I really wish I recorded it, but I didn't want to take out my phone to like make ourselves like more of a target if we had been a target. So at this point, we're on the mud. Trying to go to the beach, and this guy, I'm like, so you'd rather go through the mud than this little road? The road looks exactly like the road I drove down in El Salvador, and in a little hoopty, and it was fine, but he was scared. So whatever, so we're like, never mind, let's just go back. So he reversed in the mud and we went back into town.
This is how far in we made it into the mud. I was just not feeling it. Intuition said no, and I listened, okay?
I'm gonna cut this story short because a couple more things happened, but I'm tired of talking. So eventually we were like trying to stop some buses that said Turístico on it, but I think those buses were going to a different resort. They were going to the Cameroon. We were looking for other hotels in the area, like maybe we can stop and ask for help. But yeah, the buses were all going to the Cameroon, and there was a little van, but it went past us before we could ask. Eventually I saw a taxi, and I told my boyfriend to go talk to him, and the taxi was like, yeah, I'll take you. We're like, okay. Like, I'll take you. Like, you just take us. And he showed him the road. He was like, can you make it through there? He's like, yeah, I can make it to there. So the driver ended up taking us. He went through that road that the other driver said he couldn't make through. No problem. He just had to drive slow, and we were fine. And then the rest of the road was paved. It was like maybe 10 minutes of the gravel road, and then it was a paved road.
Pero yo creo que él puede pasar, podría pasar suave. Tampoco va a partir el carro suave. Vamos a otras fórmulas porque tenemos que repetir nuestro lírico para que las cosas sucedan, para que las cosas pasen. En este caso con la vida.
At this point, it had been such a long 2 hours. We were just so tired, we just wanted to get there. Instead of taking the right turn to go up to the hotel, he took a left. The driver was like, oh yeah, I'm taking you to the boat area. We're like, but this says you can drive there. At this point, we're like, whatever. He took us to the boat area, and they charged us another 100,000 pesos because they're like, oh, it's a 35-minute boat ride and you can't drive up there. We were both so exhausted at this point. It had been maybe 3 hours trying to get to a place that's only an hour away with traffic. So we're like, fine. And now these boat people are charging us another 100,000 pesos. They're trying to charge us 200,000. We said, hell no, we're not doing that. We don't have that. And they were like, oh, the ATM is at the hotel. You can just pull out cash. And the taxi's like, no, you have to go with the boats. They were saying that it was a 30-minute boat ride. Had we not been tired, we would have called them on that, right? Because 30-minute boat ride would have been from Cartagena to Barú. Now I know this. But back then I didn't know that. And this taxi driver had just helped us you know, to a degree, he felt safe. So I was like, okay, maybe he knows something that we don't. We should have pushed him to drive us, but we didn't. So we got into the boat, and this dude asked for a tip just for me grabbing his hand to get on the boat. Like, I didn't need his hand. I just didn't want to be rude. I gave him everything I had. I only had like maybe 1,000 pesos in coins. I gave that to him. He was like, you don't have any bills? For what? What do I need to give you a propina for? I don't know. So then we got on the boat, and you know, it was a beautiful ride to the hotel. I was messaging one of my friends in the US the whole time, and I was sending him information because we had packets of service. I sent him the name of our drivers, the plate numbers, what we were doing, boat we were on, all that stuff. I tried to sneak photos too and send to him. And when we got there, I told him we were fine, and he said he's glad we didn't get kidnapped, and I'm glad we didn't get kidnapped too. All in all, if we had just gotten comfort Uber or just a real taxi, they could have just driven us straight to the place. If I came back, I would totally take another car, but I would make sure that it's probably a verified taxi and make sure that the taxi brings me to the ground check-in area, the ground reception. It was the longest. It took maybe 3 hours instead of an hour and a half, I want to say. This is it's beautiful. I'm glad this is behind us. And to go back, what we're gonna do is just arrange it straight with the hotel. I think we're gonna take a 40-minute boat ride into the pier in Cartagena downtown, and then just take an Uber from there. And the Uber should be like $5 US. I also want to say that those guys on the bikes, they weren't bad people. The guy at the end, even like the last time we were going through, he was like, well, you're my people, come on, you're my people, we're both black, like we're family. And then he was like, my name's Tony, and we were like, I don't think these are bad people. I think our drivers just heard rumors and is scared, you know. Anyway, if you have like a longer drive, pay for the more expensive option. Don't skip out. Don't try to be frugal or try to save money, especially if it's your first time going somewhere. That's what I've got out of it. In the grand scheme of things, and our taxi, I think he's just trying to make his friends some money, which, you know, I understand the hustle, but it's so messed up. And had the taxi told us like, hey, just do this, like it's a cute drive, you know, like, and you're helping the locals, I would have done that in a heartbeat. But now he left a sour taste in my mouth, because once we got to the hotel, we pulled up to the dock Maritima entrance. I asked once we got there, could we have driven here? They said yes. There's 2 entrances. There's one by boat, one by car. Anyway, once we made it, it obviously didn't feel that bad in retrospect, but at the time, I just didn't know what was gonna happen. It's easy now to see anything else that I would have done differently now, but there wasn't really a lot of information on how to get there besides booking directly with the hotel, which was a little expensive. But at the same time, things happen. This is life. You get challenges and you overcome them and you learn from them and you grow. But if I was to do this again, or if anybody watching is planning to drive to Barú, I would say if you're going to take Uber, don't take the economy version. Take a regular Uber or take a proper taxi. I think the proper taxi is probably safer, or just book directly with the hotel if you have the money. But yeah, that's the story. Doesn't feel as bad as it was in the moment. But thank you for watching. I hope you'll come back for the actual Las Islas vlog. Let me know in the comments if you've had a similar experience, how you came out of it, or if you're planning to go to Colombia soon, and drop any questions in the comments. My name is Berenice. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. There's a telescope. I'm gonna go check it out. I wish I knew this last night, because then we could have looked at the stars. Oh my god. Let's go check out this telescope thing. I didn't see it before.